Another extremely important thing that we like to talk about is the call to action. Now, the call to action is something that's very, very important because it's on that button that we want someone to push, or it's the top of that particular piece of content that we want someone to read. The call to action in the online world is very different than the offline world. And I'll give you an example. Lots and lots of bank websites will have a call to action that looks a lot like this. But it would be very odd if you were to walk into your local bank branch and wait in line, and when you walked up to the teller looked at you and said, "Open an account now." Of course, you would be terrified. You would, run around screaming, and I'd probably cry and start calling my mom to be consoled. It was a terrible experience that I had. But that's the offline world. In the online world, we don't have a lot of time. And in the online world, we don't have a lot of patience. And so we as consumers have learned to want brands to tell us what they want us to do. So I'm presented with a landing page. I'm only going to give you a few seconds of my time. What I want you to do is tell me exactly what I'm supposed to do from here. And in this case, we see one that says, "Open an account now." It's the same exact phrase, only this time it doesn't seem nearly as threatening. It's telling me that if I click on this button, I'll be able to open an account right now. It's reiterating the thing that I may want to do if I had clicked on an ad that talked about opening an account, for example. Very, very relevant to what I was looking for, or the type of target audience I am if you're the marketer, and also very descriptive. Tells me exactly what I need to do. Here's another great example. There's a volunteer website out there that matches people who want to volunteer with opportunities that are looking for volunteers to help them out, and organizations that are all over the world. The call to action that they use is, "I want to help." And that's, again, reiterating back to me, the user, exactly what I want to do. It's telling me that if I click this button, I'm going to be taken to a place where I can start helping, and I'm going to find that match where I can volunteer my time and my expertise, my services to help out a particular cause. It's a very, very effective call to action. This is one of those things that's great to test. You can test different types of messages on the buttons that you have, and you can find out which are the ones that are more likely to get the actual click. This also works on the search marketing side. So when you're writing your text ads, these are really all about the call to action. And in such limited character sets that we have to write our ads with, using different calls to action in our ad split test can be a great way to transfer the knowledge that we gain there onto the landing pages and the places that we use them in the site itself. Now, one more thing we want to talk about here is where we actually place a call to action. And I'll give you a great example of this one. We were working with a client, and this particular client did a fantastic job of getting people to the shopping cart. They had a great selection of inventory. They had great product descriptions, great product photos, and they got lots of people to add things to their cart. And they called us up and they said, "We could use some help in our conversion optimization department here because we don't know what happens. We get people into our shopping cart, but then no one checks out." And we took a look at the page, and it looked a lot like this. Now, take a look around here and tell me if you can find out how to check out. We looked here too. We saw that you could clear the cart. We saw that you could update the quantities. We saw that you could go back and shop for more. And we even saw that there was a coupon code. And a lot of people would then leave the site and spend the next hour of their life trying to find that coupon on one of the coupon code websites that they could come back and do it and enter it here to save $1 or $2. But what we didn't see here was a way to move forward. And so we brought this up and we said, "You know what, we've got a problem here. There's no way to move forward." And they looked at us and they said, "Oh, of course there is. You just have to read all that small text that it says, well, you have to tell us what state you live in. And then once you do that, you can continue. And you continue by selecting from this drop down." A very unintuitive way of getting past this stage of the shopping cart. So the first thing we said was, well, why don't you remove that and you can ask them the state when you ask them for their address. And there was actually a business reason for this. For them to offer free shipping, they needed to know if you lived in one of the states where they couldn't offer free shipping. So there are always business requirements. And so what we ended up doing was we proposed a split test. In the first version, we didn't let them check out like we had before. And in the second version, we let them check out. And of course, you can tell who won. Now, obviously, we didn't word it quite that roughly to our customer in this engagement, but what we did do is we changed the design quite a bit. And in this design, being that they had to fulfill this business requirement, we said, here's a big red button and a big arrow that points over and says, in order for you to continue, this is what you have to do. And of course, with this particular test, conversion rates go up, and this call to action was not only a one that was crafted and tested, but it was also one that was made clear to the consumer. So calls to action can be extremely important, and they can be extremely wonderful things to test that have the potential for big upsides in your conversion optimization strategy.